Welcome to another segment of Points of Interest. I am your host, Demetrius Minor, along with the other host, Joey Trainer.
Yes, it's good to be back. Good to see
back.
you.
Yes.
You weren't here Monday when we did our talk with Tia,
Right.
but we missed you, and
I'm sure you did.
it's good to have you back as long as we can, because you guys know D's on his way out of here.
On my way out.
Yeah.
A couple more weeks to be with you lovely people. But that does not mean that I would not be keeping tabs on what's going on.
Sure.
And that, of course, from time to time, I will be tuning in to Points of Interest because I believe that something good has been started here, something fundamental,
By
something
you.
that can expand. Well, by the both of us. It's not one person alone.
All right.
And I am excited about what's in store for you, Joey, and for the rest of this program.
Look forward to changing this whole thing up. I mean, we'll have streamers, lights, sound, all of this craziness going on. No,
Should be fun.
I don't want to. I'm going to set everybody up for a big lie. No, but there will be changes. You'll notice.
Cool.
We'll see. But anyway, you're still keeping tabs of sort of what's going on right now, and there's plenty going on right now. This is, I guess you would call this Super Wednesday, the Wednesday after Super
The
Tuesday.
Wednesday that
I don't know.
precedes Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting night. There were 10 states that were in play. Our very own state of Georgia. You had Massachusetts. You had Vermont. You had Virginia. You had Idaho. You had North Dakota. You had Alaska. You had Tennessee. You had Oklahoma. And for some strange reason, that 10th state is Ohio.
Not important. It's not
Ohio.
important. Okay.
Very, very important. 10 states that were at play.
Right.
To win the Republican nomination, you need a total of 1,144 delegates. So right now,
So there were a lot of delegates in play last
there
night.
were a lot.
Yeah.
There were a lot of delegates. About 410, roughly, delegates that were at play. Now, in our state of Georgia, Newt Gingrich was the favorite. He was a West Georgia professor. Here. He was a congressman from Georgia. He had a lot of Georgia roots.
Right.
And from the Gingrich campaign, he had to win Georgia substantially
Right.
to have a shot of steroids in his campaign, so to speak. And he did win. He got 47% of the vote in Georgia, enough to get him some more media attention. Now, here's because me and you, Joey, we both know there's been a not Mitt movement coming on. There's always been that anti-Romney
Yes.
campaign.
Yes. Almost, it seems, since the very beginning.
Since the very beginning, you're correct.
It's,
Now-
it's always been this, and it just has sustained.
Virginia, which is Gingrich home state, Gingrich and Santorum failed to get on the ballot. So that left Ron Paul and Mitt Romney as the two contenders. You would think that Romney would pretty much run away with Virginia. When the polls closed at 7 o'clock in Virginia, the network said, okay, Virginia is too close to call. I said, are you kidding me? Ron Paul got 41% of the vote.
Yeah.
Now, many people could say that maybe that was a protest
know what?
vote from Santorum and
He's
Gingrich.
also not Mitt. It's very interesting.
Well,
You brought that
anybody
up
whose,
earlier.
name, well, anybody whose name is not Mitt Romney is a
Right,
non-Mitt
yes.
candidate, right? So,
So people were standing there at the booth and they're thinking, Mitt Romney or
right.
not Mitt Romney?
So Santorum went on to win Oklahoma, Tennessee, North Dakota. North Dakota was more of a surprise. That was a caucus state. People thought that would be Ron Paul's first win.
Yeah.
Santorum won that, and Ron Paul finished ahead of Romney in North Dakota. So very interesting. Romney won his home state of Massachusetts, Vermont. He also won Idaho, Alaska. Now, Ohio, which is always a battleground state, and as people say, as go Ohio, so goes the nation. No Republican nominee has won without Ohio. None.
Okay.
Romney wins by 1 point, 38-37. Now, here's something else fascinating.
Right.
Okay? There's a lot of fascinating factors to this. Santorum was up by 10 to 12 points in Ohio 3 weeks ago, and he lost by 1. But Romney outspent Santorum 12 to 1.
Wow, 12 to 1.
12 to 1, and beat him by 1 point.
It's a big ratio.
So you have to be frustrated. You have to be concerned if you're in the Romney camp. I was talking to a good friend of mine today, and he said he thinks Gingrich should drop out, join forces with Santorum, that percentage will be enough to overtake Romney possibly
Right.
in the next upcoming states.
That makes a lot of sense.
So this primary is going to go on until kingdom come. Right now, the delegate math still favors Mitt Romney. He probably possibly still come out winning the nomination unless they get to the convention and it's brokered. Neither candidate has enough delegates. So.
Yeah. Wow. So many numbers. So many.
I know that's a lot of
yes.
numbers to throw out there.
Well,
the,
no,
the
it's,
main number is 1,144.
yes.
That's how many delegates you need to capture the nomination.
Well, and I'm just wondering. I mean, we've been through a couple of these caucus primaries, and we had the Super Tuesday. Is there going to be a Super Duper Tuesday? I mean, is there going to be like a
Super Duper Tuesday?
Is there going to be like a even better? No, really, everybody vote this time Tuesday. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just interesting to see state by state how there's a lot of voters still looking for what they call the true conservative choice. In the state of Ohio, and this is troubling numbers for the GOP, 4 out of 10 voters said that they were not enthusiastic about their choice.
I've seen the numbers about, I mean, just the fact that you're asking, would you like other people to run? And people are responding, yeah, I would. I'd like someone else to get in here. It's, but it's way too late.
Governor,
I'm thinking, right? For
it's
fundraising
funny.
and
it's funny. Former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin, she was on the record with Greta Van Susteren yesterday, and she said that you can't rule anything out. She says, I'm not in favor of anybody dropping out. And they asked her, they said, would you jump in? She said, anything's open. They said, well, what if you're the choice for a broker convention? She says, anything is possible. It's going to show you.
Please let that happen. Please let that be the case. That would be wonderful. Oh, man. And then it'd be good for late night. It'd be good for everybody, right? It'd be good for all the daily shows and Colbert's. Yes, let's get Palin back in there.
Let me say this, and I'm not here to advocate
Palin 2012
a run for Sarah Palin, but I do want to remind people that it was the 1980s when the people laughed at Ronald Reagan. They thought he was a colossal joke. They thought that he had no chance. They mocked him, made fun of him constantly.
Yeah.
And he went on to win in a landslide. I'm not comparing Sarah Palin to Reagan, but I do want to remind people.
I think you just compared Reagan to Sarah Palin.
I'm
I think that's what just happened.
The different eras.
Okay.
In politics, anything crazy can happen. You just
Absolutely.
never know. So it's been fun, it's been entertaining, and it's been mind-boggling.
Yeah.
At the same time that Mitt Romney is still having to struggle because keep in mind Mitt Romney's been running for president since 2006.
Yeah.
And the fact that he cannot breeze his way through right now, the fact that he still is having concerns, and people are pessimistic about his campaign right now. Is a troubling sign.
I heard him this morning. It was pleading. It wasn't campaigning. It was pleading. He was saying, I'm a businessman. It's the economy. It's what I do.
Right.
The economy is what I do. Come on. It was kind of like, everybody be my friend. Pick me. Put me on the team.
Hey, he's been running on that message that he is a businessman. He was a former.
And it should work, swimmingly, in this situation. I'm thinking that could be a tremendous, political stance. If you really are a strong, economic mind. But
from the numbers,
working.
numbers of the people who are voting for Romney.
Yeah.
The majority of them say they do like him because he has the businessman experience, and they believe that is essential in helping the economy grow and helping the economy rebound. Those are the people who do support Romney. They do like his background as being the CEO.
And I'm sure they've got a lot of scratch to spend. They got a lot of money to grease up the campaign for him. So and the PACs and everything. So that also helps. Definitely.
Well, the super PACs are getting lots of money. I'm sure Barack Obama's super PAC is going to raise a lot of money.
Oh, absolutely. And he only needs one. It's not like we got to set up all these little side things here. It's really helpful for individuals and
personally, I think the McCain-Feingold bill,
Yeah.
campaign finance reform, was a complete disaster. I believe that anyone should be allowed to contribute as much money as they want to a campaign without boundaries, without holdbacks.
So you're not a fan of the way it used to be done, where basically everyone was given, everyone had a cap, but everyone could give, and so there were no limitations
I believe
on
the cap
who you
right
were.
now, I believe it's
but-
$2,500. I believe that is.
Right, but there's still, but with PACs and everything,
super PACs.
that
right.
or super PACs, that's imaginary, basically. I mean, you don't have to.
Right, you can
it's
give
not.
unlimited.
There are other ways of
Right,
giving.
but I'm talking about to an individual's personal campaign.
Right.
I believe I'm not in favor of that, of the McCain-Feingold.
Well, I'm in favor of getting rid of the PACs and super PACs and giving to an individual candidate,
Right.
but having individuals have a cap, or almost like a voucher. If everyone gets a voucher to give a candidate $50, then great. That's democratic. Everyone's given $50 to get to a campaign. Their campaign is only worth as many $50 contributions they get from individuals across the state or across the country. And then you see the real strength or the real disparity between a candidate who is well funded, also means they're well liked and
Organized.
supported
Right.
and organized, as opposed to one or two or three candidates who have one or two or three donors that are giving an exorbitant amount of money.
Because the problem that we're
So-
seeing with these super PACs, Joey, is
Then you
that-
actually might see Gingrich do better or Santorum do better financially than Mitt Romney.
Right. But right now, because what you're seeing, the super PACs, they do all these negative advertising, and then, a candidate steps back and says, oh, well, I have nothing to do with that,
Sure.
because by law,
Yeah.
they're not allowed to negotiate with the super PACs.
Right.
But then when that super PAC is turned against them, then,
Mm-hmm.
they get bitter, they come out, they complain, they want action to be taken.
Sure.
So I kind of see where you're coming from as far as getting rid of the super PACs.
Well, that's just my call to that is really just a call to the way it used to be done, as a simple way of back not even that long ago. Jimmy Carter, that's the way that campaign. Those campaigns were organized. And you got them up in debates. Nothing really changed as far as there was still media, but the difference was, everyone can throw in, everyone can give. If you're a registered voter, bam, you have this much. And it's not so much about limiting your voice, because you're still able to say, I support this candidate with this much money. It's just about evening the playing field so that America can get a less a less dynamic view, with all these political and economic tricks in it that can make it look like, okay, Mitt Romney's owning the banks here, while your Gingrich or Santorum are having a hustle out there. Which is funny. I saw a clip of Santorum out there on the field. You got to see this if you can look it up if you haven't seen it already. Santorum's on the field. He's in a big crowd of supporters. Lady comes up to him and says, "Can I give you a financial contribution right now?" And he wants to just hand her, I guess she wanted to just hand him some money. And then she screams out to the crowd, "Mitt needs your money. Give Mitt Romney your money." And then Santorum's standing like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh no, Santorum." And then she hugs him. It's like, that was beautiful. That was, just put that in the frame.
Mistakes and blunders like that happen.
That was so funny.
I remember
Yeah.
in South Carolina, Romney was campaigning with Governor Nikki Haley and Arizona Senator John McCain, who was a GOP nominee in 2008.
Yeah.
And McCain was speaking on behalf of Romney, and he says, when he's president, President Obama is going to turn this economy around. He's going to do this and that. And I remember Mitt says Romney. He mistakenly called Romney Obama.
Well, there you go. Or Freudian slip. I don't know. Or, hey, maybe there was something divine at play. In any case, we also have some local elections going on. And, goodness. And, well, I'll get to the money later. We were just talking about money, and it just reminded me of all the money that's being thrown around locally at at the T Center and at the T Center parking deck. And at, these private projects are projects that are turning into private revenue streams on the public dime. And anyway, before we get to that, we did have some other votes yesterday. The Richmond County School SPLOST passed pretty easily. So that was to renew the 1 cent sales tax that will now go into school systems.
Seems like alcohol sales will be provided on
Right,
Sundays.
right. So it's going to be, that's...
Maybe there'd be some people in our audience who would like that.
Sure, absolutely. And I don't, You know, now that it's done, it almost seems like it shouldn't have been a big deal. But I mean, leading up to this, it was all about, wow, is Augusta really going to make the step to now you can get your beer on Sundays? And everyone's asking all these questions like, well, does it mean I can, go into a bar and still get this or that or whatever? So
the way I
it's
view
a
it,
new
Joey,
day, a new dawn in
I
Augusta.
do know some. There are some people, particularly maybe some religious people, who are opposed to that.
Sure.
And my theory is, well, this is what they've been doing. They buy it on Saturday, and they're still going to drink it on Sunday.
Well, so then really, we can concede that the reason alcohol wasn't being sold on Sunday is religious, right? I mean,
I'm not saying that's the sole reason.
But can't you say that's the sole reason? Is there another?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure what everybody's thoughts and opinions was, but I'm saying some people who have conveyed that said, well, they didn't feel it was spiritually conscious to sell alcohol on Sundays. And my notion was, okay, well, what's the difference if they buy it on Friday or Saturday and drink it on Sunday?
Sure.
For example, Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's long gone, but yet it's still on a Sunday.
Yeah.
It's still on a day that many people go to synagogue.
Well,
or
but
to
in
a
Augusta,
church, and
Richmond
worship,
County,
and, they're still going to drink alcoholic beverage on a Sunday.
Sure.
So,
But I think it's, and I didn't even think about it until after, this thing has finally passed. We've essentially been under a law that has, it has its heart or spirit in a religious context. And that's not, it doesn't seem very American to me that, we're still in 2012, like we have to work our way around, we have to vote our way out of these laws that have to do with, of all things, alcohol consumption. I mean, the prohibition ended however long ago, and just the debate as to whether it's on Sunday or not. I mean, it's just funny, man. It's just an observation.
well,
No big.
I think that there still needs to be an alcoholic awareness, seeing that, how alcohol, still leads to a lot of deaths.
Sure.
Like motor vehicle
Absolutely.
crashes. So I wouldn't just put, the subject of alcohol on the back burner and pretend like it doesn't attribute to.
No, but it's a legal substance. That's all I'm saying.
It is.
And I don't
It
even.
is indeed a legal substance.
I don't even agree as to
I
why
think-
that's a legal substance and some
I
other
think
things
now.
aren't.
I think a focus.
but-
I think a focus
Yeah.
is it is a legal substance, but now we need to focus on like when minors are involved, people who are under the legal age, and their consumption of alcohol, and the people who may be of legal
Right.
age.
And we
who
need
are
to do that
buying alcohol
on
and
one more
giving it
day
to
of the
them.
week than we used to have to, I guess, thanks to this vote. So, hey,
Well, and I think they're looking at it from an economic perspective. I think
Yeah.
there's the belief that this will
taxes,
taxes, increase
sales tax, yeah,
revenue,
right.
and it may.
It
I
may.
mean, I don't know how.
Or it
big the
may just
difference
mean
is.
that you'll have less tax revenue on Saturday, more on Sunday. I don't know.
We'll see.
It's interesting. So those things got passed the other day, and so now, if we can, I'd like to move into this T-Center thing. I mean, when we talk about government spending, right, which is a big thing for Republicans to say, we got to stop the spending, we got to stop the the waste. I wonder where the rage is. Where is the anger? Where are the insults? Where is the when we've got, what is it here? We're upwards to $70 million into this project that is not going to make revenue for the city. Whereas we have built and are building and probably will continue to build for the Marriott, which and this center and even the parking lot, which I have a story about. Most Augusta's citizens are priced out of anyway. It's not like I mean, when 20% of the city is at or below poverty, and I don't know, we have the economy as such as we do, and we have so many young people and in the medical field and even at Fort Gordon, how are our interests being met with the building of an tourist center next to the Marriott that is just costing us so much? I don't
know
even
that-
understand where I just don't know where the outrage is.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know very little details about the T Center.
You and a lot of people, actually. I mean, it's not
but-
even surprising. Yeah.
But if it's designed to be a tourist attraction, I'm thinking maybe a pro is that when a lot of people come to visit Augusta, particularly at Masters Week, when we have a lot of tourists, we have a lot of guests, and say they go downtown, maybe they'd be tempted to buy souvenirs or whatnot, and know about the history, know about the culture of Augusta, and it depends on what's going to be offered in that tea center.
Yeah, no, that would
and
be
I don't
lovely.
know.
That, what you just described, I think is what everyone voted for and what everyone was expecting every time we agreed to put more money into this, to this project. That vision. But that vision seems less and less likely as to what will actually happen when the cost of its use is going to be so high. I just don't see. Let me correct myself. It wasn't 70 million. I'm sorry. Where did I get that extra 20 million? What? And this is from the citystink.net. They're a great online resource for investigative reporting and even private citizens just out there, digging in deep to try and figure out what's going on here. But to the end of this, it says Augusta built $50 million in buildings over land that an LLC, that was under the Marriott, Augusta Riverfront LLC, without getting the legal documents to do so. So we built on their land, and because of or I guess we can say, the Administrator Russell, Fred Russell's neglect, we did so without covering ourselves. Now we are funding the parking deck capital reserve of $250,000 plus 3 months of operating expenses pre-funded, plus a $25,000 fee to the LLC. And we've got to pay up to $350,000 a year, plus marketing expenses. I mean, all this, we're just continuously shelling out. There was recently $1 million spent just for a kitchen.
Maybe what we should do is get a representative who's on the board for the Tea Center to come on Points of Interest and to explain all the resources being put into this this facility, the purpose of it, the mission, the vision. Allow them to explain not just to us, but to the audience, to the local community. Now, I'm not defending the Tea Center. I'm not saying I'm for or against
I think all that stuff you can read, you can assess from what's happened.
But it would also be good to hear verbally, vocally from someone who is actually proposing this, and that way we can base a judgment, and that way we can question.
Well, another place you can hear these answers is at the commission meetings, where they frankly put it to them that it's going to cost X amount to get this done. But the most recent surprise bill here, fee, was when it was going to require upwards of $800,000 to add to the ventilation system there. A ventilation system was already in place, but it only ran at 2.5 times an hour or so, I think. And so what the standards were for International Marriott company was that it run, I think, 8 times. So anyway, it was going to cost $800,000 to redo that. But that's on our dime. We paid that. We're paying that. And these are all these things. That's just one example of a deal being struck that we've been sucked into, and then later having to accrue costs that were unexpected. And I just don't see, even if it is for tourism, even if it is for, if you want to learn about Augusta, how hard is it? We have a museum, we have, I don't understand why this, which is really turning into more so looking like a convention center that's going to benefit them.
I do know that. Downtown.
And there's a political aspect to this too. Go ahead.
Well, downtown Augusta is growing. Downtown Augusta seems to be thriving, and I think they want to attract more people, more businesses down there, and maybe they see this as a business expenditure where it's going to attract a lot of local citizens. I don't know. I'm not on the board.
Sure. And I think there have been a lot of, polls, conferences, the Downtown Authority has done some work to try and figure out what it is, that can bring more people downtown. And there are a lot of things. There are a lot of ways to mimic things that work in other cities. This, I don't think, is one of them. This is a money suck for the city to benefit a private entity. And the political aspect of this, which is funny. I'll just throw this out there and then tell my little story about the parking deck. This is, the main people constructing this are R.W. Allen. And R.W. Allen is, of course we know, run by Rick Allen, who is now running for District 12. So another thing that I think is just absolutely, I just think it's, I don't even know what the word is. I could say heinous, but maybe that's not what I'm looking for. The fact is, we're paying the taxes to go to this building, for which is constructed by Rick Allen, who's running for office. It doesn't fly. It's not kosher to me that we are paying because of bad deals struck by our administrators for a building that is also going into inadvertently, or not inadvertently, but subsequently to help fund a Republican candidate for the district. I mean, it's undeniable, and when you learn about this,
I wouldn't quite say that that money and that fee would be funded toward his campaign.
I wouldn't expect you to say that,
because there will be some legal issues involved with that. Now, I understand raising awareness about the T Center and about should taxpayer money be funded to do this.
So here's my anecdote. I wanted to see the parking deck, and I think everyone should. I mean, you can see it from the outside, and it's this odd thing because I mean, it's like the newest, freshest, hottest, bangingest thing downtown, but it's a parking deck, and it's located right across from Marriott, obviously, and I just wanted to take a look at it and go up to the top, see what it was there, and I'm thinking, we built this, and it's a parking deck, and in cities across the country and the state, you can just ride into a parking deck, take a spot. There you go. So I go in there. It was one Tuesday morning. There wasn't anything going on. There was nobody in the parking deck, obviously, and I didn't know. I thought, well, it's just Tuesday morning, and no one has a reason to be in this parking deck. Then I learned. So anyway, I get all the way up to the top, and there's nobody in the attendant window, and I saw public parking, and I didn't see any. The bar wasn't down, I didn't have to, oh, actually, no, I'm sorry, you take a little, one of the little pink little things, and I've done this in Atlanta and not been charged or anything, but anyway, now I'm spilling the beans. I get all the way to the top, and I'm seeing the view, and, it's interesting. It's an interesting, you don't usually see the skyline, you don't usually get to enjoy from that vantage, everything, but I'm looking over here, and I see Wells Fargo and SunTrust, and the Lamar Building, and we know who runs the Lamar Building, which is actually, all those LLCs are connected to just a few people. Rick Allen, Billy Morris, owner of the Augusta Chronicle, I'm just, I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty funny. You can see them, they're all right there, they're all hanging out, looking over everything. Then I look over here and I see all the various Marriotts, and I think, oh, well, that's nice, they're doing really well, I'm sure. And then I look up, and at the very top of this crane, or maybe it wasn't a crane, I don't want to be factually inaccurate, but this big building, construction thing, is a flag that's waving, and so over everything is R.W. Allen. And I just thought, this is perfect. This is too much. This is wow. You can't see anything else. Nothing else is built up higher than these two banks that are tied into loans on the land. We have liens on this land, and liens basically, it's money that we put down to keep paying into it. So we, the taxpayers, are paying into these liens, into this land, into this construction that goes to these banks over here, these LLCs run by the Morrises and the Allens, and this flag that's sitting up top, and I'm thinking, wow, this is just incredible. So it gets better. I head down. It takes about 2 minutes to get all the way down this thing with no cars in the parking lot. And there's a guy sitting in the window, and he's waiting, and I find out that it's $20 an hour to park in that parking lot. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm priced out of that. If I want to park somewhere, forget it. I'm not spending $20 an hour. Even if I really want to know more about the history of Augusta, I'll find somewhere else. You know what I mean? But luckily, I had to pay him like $1.25 or something because I'd been there for like 10 minutes, and it was so weird. I had to like scrounge for $1.25 in my car because I didn't want to have to like use the debit or anyway. So it was just strange, and it was a story that I've told a couple of people, and I just thought I needed to be out there because this whole thing, it's just there's money oozing all over it, and it's our taxpayers' money that we're paying every day on the goods and services that we go for. It's just.
Well, I do appreciate you bringing up the.
You won't have to worry about it where you're headed, man.
No, not worried about it.
Maybe you'll have whole different problems there, but I think this government spending, right, that we always hear, government spending, it's impeding our lives. It's running everything. I just wonder where the outrage is. I mean, there's some outrage if you go on Facebook. Augusta Today is a great group that, keeps up on this. City Stink is a great one. And we like to have conversations on our page.
Joey has done the outrage for today. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Wednesdays and Friday nights, 10:30 p.m., Comcast Channel 4. Points of interest. Maybe the outrage will continue next week. Who knows?
Hey.
Until next time.
Everybody keep it light, though. Have a great week.
See you later.